Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. Hey, I'm just going to ask right now, can we classify Washington, D.C. as a virus? I mean, can we just talk about the city? And I don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't think it's the people. And maybe it's the people. Maybe it's the culture, whatever. But can we just classify it as a virus? Because basically everything that touches DC just becomes like a plague, a detriment upon the world. I don't even know how to describe it, but Washington is a disaster. And, I just keep everybody that goes there just goes downhill. Now, I got to tell you, today I'm looking and I mean, I'm concerned. And yeah, I got immense respect for Dan Bongino and Kash Patel. I mean, Bongino left millions of dollars position to come and try and serve our country. So kudos to him. But for God's sakes, can anybody explain to me how you can say that the Epstein thing was a suicide? Really? Hey, by the way, there's nothing else to see here on the Trump assassination. They're just lone shooters. Really? Come on. So I want to talk about that a little bit. I mean, I'm hoping that they didn't get infected with the DC plague. I can't imagine they would. They're good guys, and I want to support it. But I mean, they are working for Bondi, who has done an immense amount of nothing. And I don't know. I don't know what's going on there, but I'm concerned about it, and I want to talk about that. Also want to got some really interesting things. There's a terrifying development in like this whole AI driven job thing that we're going to be dealing with coming up. We're going to hit some of that. And then we got Trump's big, beautiful bill, which of course the Republicans are undermining in every way possible to try and make sure that it's the most, big, ugly bill, I think is what they're trying to make it. And we'll see whether or not they succeed. But tons of news, tons of things to talk about. Elon Musk, by the way, is going to pull back on political spending. I don't know what that means, but that could be disastrous. I got to tell you, midterms are not looking good for the GOP. And the problem is if Trump doesn't get some stuff done, if his DOJ doesn't start putting some people in jail, he's going to, after the midterms, be facing the majority Democrat everything, and he's going to see more impeachments than he knows what to do with. And, with the number of rhinos there, they might actually succeed in a full impeachment. I mean, it is not a good situation right now. And I got to tell you, everybody keeps telling me, well, all we do is win, win, win. No, we're not, folks. I don't want to be Debbie Downer, but we're not winning. I mean, our chances of victory are about as good as chances of Biden's prostate getting fixed. Ooh, that might have been rough. Shouldn't have went there. No, it's not good, folks. It's not good. We've got some serious stuff we got to deal with, and the MAGA nation better get moving, because if we don't start backing Trump and start pushing for things to happen, it's just gonna get ugly. Because remember, those midterms are coming. No one's happy with Republicans. Republican turnout's going to be crap. The Democrats are going to be there to steal everything. And you get a majority House and Senate on the D side, you're going to have Donald Trump facing real impeachments in a way that, I mean, these guys don't play games, and they're not playing games. So we got a lot to talk about. Before I do, let me remind you all, please, if you're willing, we need monthly donors. We need monthly support. Please consider giving on a monthly basis. Become a repeat donor. GiveSendGo.com/Renslaw. GiveSendGo.com/Renslaw. Your monthly donations make a huge difference to us. Your support makes a huge difference. It allows us to keep fighting, to keep doing things, to keep presenting data and information, doing all that we do. So please, GiveSendGo.com/Renslaw. And also, today especially, we got my friend Kirk Elliott here. Make sure you're checking out Kirk Elliott. Kirk Elliott Precious Metals, wonderful service, brilliant guy, good dude, patriot, servicing and working with patriots all over the country. Just a good man, and I'm honored to call Kirk a friend, and excited to talk to him. We got to talk to him about the big, beautiful bill and some of this economic impact stuff, because it's pretty crazy right now. So go to TomRenz.com, www.tomrenz.com. Got to type it in. You can't get there otherwise, because Google will block it. But go there, click on shop, go to our partners and affiliates, and right here, Kirk Elliott's Precious Metals. That's my guy. So, all right. Without further ado, speaking of the devil, let's talk to Kirk. How you doing today?
I'm doing really well. It's good to see you, Tom.
I'm a little wound up. I'm wound up this week, Kirk. I mean, I've had a lot of interesting things happening. Yesterday's show was a little bit off the hook. I'm pretty sure that I gave my guest a stroke or two. But there's so much happening. It's hard not to be wound up. It's just kind of crazy. We're seeing And yesterday we talked about, we spent most of the show talking about Biden's prostate, which who doesn't want to talk about that? But and it's a tragedy. I mean, we wish him well. We pray for him that no one should face cancer. We do pray for him, but at the same time, there's a lot of stuff around that that's kind of crazy. But in our world, I want to show you this. I want to put this up on the screen. I'd love to get your reaction here, because you and I have talked a lot about the upcoming AI and how that's going to affect our economy and the global economy. And by the way, everybody, in case you're not aware, I think you're all aware, but this is actually Dr. Kirk Elliott. He's an economist. So when we talk to Kirk about the economy, we're actually talking to an expert. So we've got this interesting development, right? And it's right here. And what it is you've got this giant construction robot. And this is kind of I think this is representative of a lot of things, because you're talking about all the jobs we're going to have with coming back with, and he's succeeding in bringing jobs back, but world's first AI powered giant construction robot. It's a giant 20-foot monster of a robot. And it's right now it's human assisted operation, but they're going to be moving towards full autonomy. I think this is a picture of one of them. I mean, look at this giant. I don't even know what it is. It looks terrifying to me. It looks like it's straight out of Terminator. But the reason I think this is important, and you and I have talked a lot about this, is we've got a situation now where, Trump is succeeding. His tariffs are working. The trade balances are shifting. And we're going to see a ton of investment, a ton of stuff coming back to the U.S. But it's going to come back, and it doesn't mean it's going to create jobs, because we've got robots that can do just about everything. And when we start talking construction, I mean, there is probably no more main kind of central blue collar middle class anything than factory work, construction work. And it looks like, when you get full autonomy on it, I mean, that's going to go away. What do you think's going to happen with this?
Well, I think it's inevitable that this is the world we're headed to. I mean, it's just like when we're heading into a digital world on all fronts, whether it's robots to do almost anything, AI to replace people with singularity. We're now robots or AI computers are smarter than people, right?
Yep.
Can do it faster, can do it better, supposedly. Yep. And we're moving into a world of digital money, away from paper-based currency issued by central banks, right? Everything's going digital. So when you look at the robot that you just had there, well, yeah, Trump is going to create jobs. He is bringing jobs back to America, but the question becomes what Elon Musk warned about like 6 months ago. It's like, are we ready for this? Are we ready for AI to rule the world? And people can love Elon Musk or hate Elon Musk. Right here in Colorado, most people can't stand him. You can get a Tesla for like 40% off, right? But he's a smart guy, and he developed AI. Yeah. He was one of the original developers on it. He said society is not ready for what is coming. And he's spot on right. Yep. Because when jobs are going to be created in the future, like, thinking about what you do as an attorney, could those be replaced by AI? Yep.
A lot of them.
What about what I do as consulting people on their finances? Could that be replaced by AI? Yep, it could. Now construction can be replaced by AI. What about all the people on the longshoremen's union that went on strike earlier? Yep. They went on strike because not necessarily just because of wages. Yeah, they wanted more money. That's why unions always go on strike. But they wanted to ensure that the owners of these ports didn't replace them with robots.
Right.
And I don't think the owners are ever gonna do that, when most of the ports around the world, coming from China, Japan, wherever, are all robotic ports. There's like not people, right? So how can you stay competitive in a world where you don't ultimately have to pay a computer a wage? You don't have to worry about a sexual discrimination lawsuit. You don't have to worry about HR benefits. You don't have to worry about people getting sick and taking time off, impacting the rest of the team. You don't have to worry about any of that if you hire a computer, right? And so where is industry going to go? Where is business going to go? Ultimately, my prediction is they're going to want to hire computers.
I would agree.
But you can't ever replace the gut feeling, the intuition, the soul that people have, or can you down the road? I mean, this is the question.
Yeah.
Evidently, there's robots now that can mimic relationship, right? And I mean, it's just
and you know what's really terrifying, Kirk?
Yeah.
I looked this up because I was asked about it on another show, and I think it's somewhere between 10 and 15% of Americans would entertain the idea of being in a relationship with a robot. Think about that. How screwed up is that?
Weird. I mean, that's so bizarre.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not for lack of a better term, I am not a robosexual. It just ain't gonna happen. I don't get it. But yeah, I mean,
there's
this
some
is
people
it.
that I know that I wish I would talking to a robot instead of them. However,
that's true. I got a bunch of those.
It's different. Yeah. So
it is. Well, but you're right. And I mean, I'll tell you, so, on day to day, so lawyer wise, I use AI now. I'm required by law to check anything that I brief or do with AI. So you can't replace a lawyer at this point. You still have to have the lawyer, but I don't need to hire as many lawyers,
right?
Because I can do the work of 3 lawyers now because the AI expedites it so much. My productivity is through the roof. Like what I can get done in a short period of time. I mean, it's mind blowing. So, that's part of the reason that we're taking on a few more business clients. By the way, everybody, feel free to reach us at tomrenz.com on that. If you want to, you can reach the Lawfare site, but we are taking business clients right now. We are not doing free class action lawsuits. I don't have room for any more. We're doing all the pro bono and free work we can, and we'll keep doing that. But I'm not looking for right now. We don't have room for more free clients. So if you're looking for a freebie, I'm sorry. Right now we're still full, and we're backed up probably a couple of years on that. So we'll keep doing the free work, but we can't help you with that right now. But this is the thing, Kirk. We're at a point now where part of the reason I can take more business clients is because I can do more with less time.
Yeah.
And that's going to get to the point eventually. You're right that we won't need to have humans involved. I think that we're going to try and force humans to be involved, because otherwise what happens to society? What purpose do we have if we've created our something that's better than us, which just makes the whole thing insane to me. But I think we'll always have something. But in terms of our wealth and our economy and our economic system, I mean, we will be moving to universal basic income because there just won't be any jobs.
Correct. I mean, I don't necessarily see an outcome other than that. Even though Trump is going to grow the U.S. economy, I know wholeheartedly will, going back to tariffs, possibly getting rid of income taxes, having other countries pay to sell to wealthy American consumers. But it's the jobs. I don't know. He will create jobs, but are they going to be humans or are they going to be robots, right? This is the question. Yeah. What percentage is that mix going to be down the road? That we don't know. But, in the meantime, you've got all of this stuff that's happening with spending and overspending. And, you look at what you want to talk about today is this big, beautiful bill, right? Which isn't necessarily, I mean, there's a lot of really good components in it. I mean, when you
it ain't all that big and beautiful right now.
No, but when you talk about the border, you talk about the wall, you talk about immigration, you talk about a bunch of the stuff that is going to be beneficial for families and the SALT thing and, all of it. This is all some good stuff. But you put this into perspective, and ultimately this bill, it collapses on itself if we go into a recession.
Yeah.
Right. Because, it's already going to have, add $5 trillion worth of debt, projected. Is the tariff income going to offset that? Hopefully it does a lot. Hopefully the people start working in America, right? And, the projections are not really there. It's like, well, how many jobs are we going to create, right? When we start being the exporter to the world, this is where we don't know some of these big answers down the road. But Moody's, thought that they did, right? So
Yeah, then we
Moody,
got downgraded. That's huge.
it's massive. It's never happened before from Moody's, right? So since 1919, well over 100 years, we've been AAA credit rating in America. Our US dollar, highest rating you could ever have, right? And we should have. We're the world's reserve currency. If you run out of money, you just print it, right? So the risk of default just wasn't there. Well, now they downgraded it. Well, here's the problem I have with all of this, which should they have downgraded it? Yep. When the rationale is we have too much debt, we have too many deficits, we can't pay them back. But did all of that change over the last 120 days? No,
No,
didn't change at all. Right?
no,
Our
this was political in the timing.
Oh, it's very political in the timing. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with the fact that they should have downgraded US dollars. They should have done it under Biden or even under the president before that, right? We've been in this financial pickle for a long time. So the timing here reeks of politicalness, right? Because and here's where Trump knows this as well, because what has he been fighting with Jerome Powell about?
Yeah.
He's saying, Jerome, you're a fool, but I still like you, right? Only Trump can get away with a comment like that. But Powell wants to raise interest rates at the next FOMC meeting, Federal Reserve Board of Governors meeting. Trump is saying, you've got to lower rates. Why does Trump want him to lower rates? Well, because it stimulates the economy, it gets more people spending, right? And when you stimulate the economy, more people are working. And so I get Powell's dilemma.
Right.
This catch-22. It's like, if I lower interest rates in a time when tariffs are causing prices to go up, we make inflation worse.
Yeah.
That's just economics.
Yeah.
But what Trump is saying, well, if you raise interest rates, you're going to cause a recession. And if you cause a recession with the amount of money that we owe and some higher prices coming from tariffs, and a recession is going to mean not many people are being hired or working, well, then it's going to make things worse. See, Trump needs interest rates to come down. And I agree with him. They should come down like at least a quarter of a point, get the economy cooking a little bit. It'll amplify inflation just a little bit, but more people will be working, so that offsets the inflation.
Well, in theory. But the theory here, we, and you've I talked about this, right? This is, if there's ever been a 5D chess, it's this, right? Because the question is, what's going to happen? So Trump's got an economic plan, and it's radical, but it has to be radical because we're behind an 8 ball, economically in this country so far that if we don't do something radical, we're done. Biden and Obama and all these guys before they let it happen. So now we're in this bad situation. Trump's got to do something radical, but problem is it going to work? And meanwhile you got the Moody's downgrade, which 100%. I mean, listen, the one of the things everybody's forgetting about is they're talking about the tariffs causing the problems. Biden's spending bills and the Green New Deal and all that stuff that they passed right before Biden left, and all his executive orders were designed to tank the economy right now. I mean, this is literally going to plan, and Trump's economy won't take place until at least the second year. So, I mean, at earliest, and that's maybe not even true because Congress and the left all got together and passed bills that made it so that Trump's economy was going to be struggling the whole time. So unless he gets Congress to actually roll some stuff back and to do something effective, we're going to be stuck with this disastrous Biden economy for a good long time. And, that's it. But then the other real, I guess, question mark, the ball that's in the air here, is because the Democrats and the Republicans sabotaged this term for Trump. No question about it. But if Trump is successful in getting this radical plan moving, what impact does all this AI and all this new development, the robotics, all these different things have? I mean, we've got a year before we get to full primary season. Nothing else is going to be done until after the midterms. And basically in that year, unless we get some radical things shifted, we're going to be in real trouble. And then on top of that, we're not only going to be in real trouble, but we're going to get to a situation where as the robots take over, the whole economy will collapse for a majority of people.
Yeah.
And we're going to be really up a creek.
Well, we are. And this is whenever a president comes into power, what do? Whether it's Trump, whether it's Biden, whether it's anybody, they say, boy, we inherited a nightmare of an economy from the previous guy, right?
Nope.
And that's not untrue.
That is.
It's a true statement. But what we saw under Biden was he lived with that mantra for 4 years. It's like, okay, at some point you got to take ownership of your stinking policies, right? But in policy, whether it's legislative action, executive order, monetary policy, you name it, there's a lag time, there's an action lag from when you declare the policy till when it hits Wall Street to when it hits Main Street, right? There's lag effect. And that's generally about a year, Tom. So you could argue that for about a year. It's like I'm dealing with the aftermath of the previous guy. And this is why Trump and Bissett and others have said this isn't going to be Trump's economy until the end of the first quarter. I think that's way
fast.
Way fast. I mean, I think it's going to be longer than that.
Yeah.
But in that time frame, that's an accurate statement. After that, the fruit on the tree, which is it takes a while for the fruit to show up on the tree once you plant the seed.
Yeah.
Then the administration that's in power needs to own it. So Trump doesn't own any of these economic implications that we're dealing with, this massive debt, the Moody's downgrade. That's all the lag effect from the previous administrations. Now, moving forward, this is where the Republicans trip over themselves all the time, and they can't unify and they can't get things together.
No.
And they're sabotage what I think is actually a good plan with the tariffs, right? I think it absolutely is. But they're going to get in the way. And by come midterm, I think you're right. It's going to be very, very, very difficult outside of some kind of a miracle. But anyways, we're looking at what are we seeing right now in the economy? Nothing that we are seeing is really, in my opinion, from the last 120 days. What we're seeing in the economy right now is from the last year, 2 years, 3 years. Now, in a year from now, it's all going to be on Trump.
Yep.
All
100%.
Right. And hopefully that as the midterms come around and people, it needs, you're spot on. It really needs to turn around, and it needs to turn around in a big way. We need to start seeing the impacts of the tariffs in a big way. We need to start creating jobs rather than just saying that this is going to bring jobs back to America. But one of the best ways to do that is to start lowering interest rates, right? But here's where Moody's absolutely shot themselves in the foot, because I do think that this was a political action on the timing of it. On the timing of it, not necessarily on why they did it, but when they did that, it devalues the dollar. What does Trump want to do? He wants to export to the rest of the world. The devalued dollar makes our exports less expensive to the rest of the world. They're actually building into his plan to hopefully make it successful, but it's an unintended consequence. What they meant to destroy, I think Trump can use for good if we really do start clicking and bringing jobs back to America and get people working. And what we started the show with, AI is a big thorn in that side, because we don't have any jobs we can create.
Well, and this is one of the problems. And I don't think, I know I'll get we all love Trump, right? But a lot of the people that pay attention are pretty sure he's the next coming of Christ, and he's not. He makes mistakes. Enter Bill Barr and Mike Pence. I think he's making a mistake with the way he's doing this AI, because he's pushing AI, and we can't lose the AI arms race, right? I mean, AI is coming. Every country's working on it, and if we don't, if we're not successful, but I disagree with what he's doing. Is he's embracing this without any sort of we don't have any legislation. We don't have any regulation. This is just coming just out of left field. And I think there's got to be a comprehensive plan to ensure that humans and human jobs are protected, and that human culture, society, that's got to be protected, because the economics are going to collapse and there's not going to be a need. And basically, we are going to be antiquated in the very near future. And so without having a plan on this, I think it's going to be disastrous. I mean, epically disastrous for the economy, for the future. I mean, just across the board. So, I appreciate what Trump's doing, but his kind of blind support for all things AI, to me, I mean, great, you're bringing back all these jobs. What are you doing to make sure that some of those are human jobs? What are you doing to make sure that and I don't think anybody, and don't get me wrong, Trump's doing as good a job as anybody. He's doing a great job, but he really needs to pay attention to that aspect of this because, right now, all we've got is a situation where things are going to continue to collapse unless we find a way to preserve kind of the human aspect of our world.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Kirk, I know that you got to get out of here, and I appreciate you making the time for us. And I just want to remind everybody, please consider go to TomRenz.com, www.tomrenz.com. Go up to shop and go to our partners and affiliates. Kirk's one of our favorite sponsors. We love him. Make sure you're checking with him. He can help you with everything, every sort of gold and silver investment. And frankly, with where things are going, I would probably consider making sure you got a little bit of gold and silver around because it ain't looking too promising right now.
It's not, but your metals will. I mean, they're counter-cyclical. They thrive in times like this. Just give me a call. We'll help you out.
All right. Appreciate you, Kirk. Thanks for joining us today.
You bet. It's my pleasure.
All right. There's our friend Kirk Elliott. I like Kirk. I like talking to him. It's, the economic stuff, it's critical. It's critical. It's a little boring at times, but we got to understand what's happening. And they're using it to undermine the president. They are using it to undermine him. And it's going to be, folks, I can't tell you enough. We are in the verge of ushering in a new age for humanity like nothing we've ever seen before. When I talk to, people who are my parents' age and my grandparents' age, and they remember the Industrial Revolution, some of those things, they talk about, I remember when we were still getting around on a horse and buggy. My grandparents were old enough. I still had some of that around. But now they didn't recognize the world. I mean, remember when they were, oh my God, now we got TVs and VCRs. Well, now we're moving to a place where you don't even need people. We're having a legitimate talk about people who want to have a relationship with a robot. Are you kidding me? So, I mean, it's insane what's happening here. And the big, beautiful bill isn't, it's a bit of a mess right now. There's just all sorts of stuff. So I want to move into another topic, and this one's going to be controversial. Y'all might get mad at me about this. And, well, if you do, you do. I got to be honest about things. I got to be truthful about things. And when I see an issue, I got to talk about it. And I see an issue. I love Bongino and I love Kash. I respect them. Any people who would go through what they've gone through to fight for this country, I got respect for. I have zero question that they are in the process of remaking the FBI and doing everything they can to do it right. I totally believe that they're doing their best to make it a legit law enforcement agency and all that. That said, the FBI is a disaster. The DOJ is a disaster. And what in the hell are they thinking? What are they thinking? Now, let me show you this. This is on Twitter. Here you got Luke asking, when do you think Patel and Bongino are going to tell us Building 7 came down on itself? Which, of course, is a funny thing because look at this. Straight up collapse. That's Building 7. By the way, I didn't realize that J6 was what it is for a long time. But, now you look at things like, here's this look at it. You can see it collapse. When Building 7 collapsed, it wasn't hit. There was no reason for it. There's nothing wrong with it. Just controlled demolition. That's all it was. The whole thing was insane. And so they're making fun of this because, going here, Emerald Robinson says, took less than 100 days for Bongino to go soft at the FBI. Now he's telling us that Epstein killed himself. And let's not overlook the fact that you've got, they're now saying that these assassins with President Trump were just assassins and not part of a larger thing. This is insane, folks. This is insanity. Now, Bongino and Kash both, well, we looked at the file and there's just no evidence in there. Are you kidding me? Are you serious, folks? What did they think? Did they think that they were going to look at the file and there was going to be a big smoking gun that said, oh, no, here's a picture of Epstein being murdered and we're just lying to the public? Is that what they thought they were going to find in the file? Did it occur to them that the file they were handed was probably manipulated? Has it occurred to them that there was corruption in this? I mean, listen, do you think that the deep state, the CIA, these key intelligence, do you think that they're not manipulating government files? The idea that I mean, and I just let it slide a little bit when they said that Epstein killed himself. I was like, have you lost your mind? But it's interesting that they take that position while Bondi's doing nothing on the Epstein file other than whitewashing. And it makes me think that what we're going to get when they release Epstein stuff, because we, the people, are demanding the release of the Epstein stuff. We're demanding it. It's going to happen. But I'm getting to the point where I'm not going to believe what they give me. I think they're whitewashing it, folks. You want to know what's taken so long? It takes a while to whitewash that much data. I think we're getting a planned, manipulated data drop on this. I don't believe it. I will be surprised. We'll see what they give us. But right now, my trust for it is pretty limited. And this is really contributing to it. Oh, no, Epstein killed himself. Bull crap. Are you kidding me? Come on, Bongino. You know better than that. That's nonsense. And Patel? Come on. We all fought for you guys. And now you're going to tell us, oh, the file doesn't have any evidence. No crap. No crap. That's because someone whitewashed the file. How is it that every one of us can see this and they can't? Two trained people who know this stuff, who are, by all, and Bongino was always so hard on these guys. He was always so upfront. What the hell happened? I still have respect for them. I still do. But I mean, I'm starting to question. When I see this nonsense, Kash, Patel, and Bongino confirmed that, all the Epstein was, now here's the thing though, right? Here's the thing. They did say J6 was orchestrated. Oh, so here's what you get. And this happens, right? You tell a little bit of truth with a whole bunch of lies, and then you don't know what to believe. Well, but they told us the truth on J6. Well, of course it was orchestrated. But they're lying through their teeth, or they're just stupid when it comes to Epstein. I don't think they're liars. I think they looked at the file, saw nothing there, and don't want to ask any more questions because they were told not to. But that isn't what we hired you guys for. Those two especially were supposed to be the bravest of the brave. Those two especially were supposed to be the closest to untouchable we could get. Have we lost that? Did even Kash Patel and Dan Bongino succumb to the pressures of Washington? The plague upon humanity? I mean, I don't know. I hope not. I'm praying not. But when I see some of these things, and I see, here's Glenn Beck. It says FBI directors say that they don't believe that Epstein's death was a suicide. And he says, I know Bongino. I think he's a credible guy, loves the country. I know Kash. He's an honorable guy, loves the country. But Beck isn't buying it anyways. He isn't buying it. And I don't blame him. And he asked the most important question. Most of all, what changed Patel and Bongino's minds? I think they're good guys. I don't think that they're liars or cheats. I think that they just, the files showed what they showed, and they either aren't smart enough or they're too afraid to ask any more questions. And it ain't that they aren't smart enough, right? These two are smart guys. They're warriors. And to me, it's got to be picking their battles, but it's not acceptable. Let's look at this real quickly, right? Let's go through some of this. Well, first of all, even Trump's former spokesperson, Liz Harrington, remember her, says she slammed these guys for downplaying the Butler assassination plot, because they said that they believed that was just what it was too. I mean, the Butler assassination attempt was absurd. The guy was, located around FBI headquarters. There's all these connections. And there's so much on this. And I'm going to get to that in a second. But Bongino says, you know what, Maria? Kash is not kidding. We've been personally briefed extensively on every single detail, nugget, and tendril of this case. One is actively in court right now. So out of respect for the case, it's probably more appropriate that I stay quiet on that. However, I'm not going to tell people what they want to hear. I'm going to tell you the truth, and whether you like it or not is up to you. That's horse crap. You know what that is? That's Bongino being manipulative. Don't question me because I gave up everything to be here. Well, you know what? You gave up everything to be here. My question is, are you selling out? And I hate to say that because I like him, but don't give me this. I mean, they've been using Bongino hardcore. I've never seen a guy more used than him. I mean, how does he feel? How does he feel knowing that he's like a toilet seat? I mean, he's just used by everybody. It's ridiculous. Uh, but Bongino, he keeps going out there and toting the company line, toting the company line, toting the. His job was to question the company line. Now all he does is tote it, no matter how absurd it is. He says, if there was a big explosive there, given my history as a Secret Service agent, my personal friendship as director does with the president, give me the one logical, sensible reason we would not have told you. If you can think of one, there isn't. Well, I got one. Are you being manipulated? Are you being lied to? Are you being pressured? And what, are you going to tell me that too, Dan? You think, is someone going to tell me if they're threatening your family? You going to tell me that? You're going to tell me if they're trying to pressure you? I don't think you would. And so what I'm looking at is not whether you can set out platitudes to try and make us believe your crap. I'm looking for data. If you're going to tell me that you saw something, I want to see the evidence, Dan. I don't believe you at this point. I want to see the evidence. You know what? If the Epstein files really show that, show me the evidence. Make it all available, unredacted, 100% from beginning to end. Same thing with this Butler thing. I want to see the evidence. I don't believe you. I'm sorry, you're a credible guy. I like you, but I don't believe you anymore. It was bad enough when you tried to tell me Epstein did it. By the way, is it convenient that Epstein is the guy that Bondi has literally bent over backwards to not investigate? I mean, she didn't look at him when she was AG of Florida, despite everybody knowing what was going on down there. Not a damn thing. Now all of a sudden, there's so much public pressure that she has to do something, and so all of a sudden, Bongino comes out there. Well, I'm going to tell you what you want me to hear. I'm going to tell you the truth. Bullcrap. Show me the truth. Don't tell me. Where is the data? Where's the evidence? Where are the unredacted Epstein files? By the way, are you whitewashing them still? Because it doesn't take that long to put this stuff out. I don't trust it anymore, folks. And I'm losing faith in even guys like this. I like them. I do. But this doublespeak, and it's always Bongino. He comes out here and it's always a grand tweet. I'm going to tell you what's the truth. And I know you may not like it, but I'm here and I give up everything to be. I don't care. I know what I've seen. Don't tell me, show me. If it's the truth, then you have no reason to hold the evidence back. I want the evidence, Dan. I want the evidence, not another sad, sappy interview, not another stupid tweet where you tell me why I should believe what I should believe. I want the evidence. I am an evidence guy, not well, just trust me because I gave up a lot to be here. I know you did. Thank you. Thank you for your service. God bless you. You're a good man. But what's happened since you've got there? Dan Bongino's become a Pam Bondi doormat. Now, I hope Bondi's going to turn it around too. I still like her if she does anything. But right now, I don't trust her at all. And Bondi and Patel are really kind of damaging trust for me too. I mean, I'm just not seeing it, right? Let's talk about Epstein. Let's talk about this. Dan, show me how it is that you believe that in light of Dr. Michael Baden, renowned forensic pathologist, right? Said that he has looked at thousands of jail suicides, thousands. And the injuries that Epstein had were unprecedented. Thousands of the thousands he's seen. He's never seen injuries like that. The injuries that Epstein had were not consistent with the suicide. They were consistent with the strangulation. Dan, what evidence do you have to show that one of the most profound and forensic pathologists out there is wrong? What evidence do you have? You've looked at the file. You told us. How about the jail procedures, Dan? Epstein was alone in his cell, despite the protocols requiring a cellmate, requiring that he have a cellmate. You know, he's a high-risk guy, so he's supposed to have a cellmate. That way there's a witness, right? Dan, you looked at the file. You don't find it peculiar that he didn't have a cellmate? You think that's just okay, it's normal, no biggie? How about the two guards that failed to conduct their searches and checks, and they fell asleep and were online and all that stuff? What about them, Dan? Is that a coincidence too? How many coincidences were there? What do you have to show that these coincidences were just coincidences? I want the data, not more sad, sappy tweets about how honest you are and you're going to tell us the truth whether we like it or not. That's manipulative. I know how to spot that. And that's what it is. So don't give me that crap. How about this one? How about the 2 surveillance cameras outside Epstein's cells that just happened to malfunction? This happened to by random. I mean, just for some reason they just and how about also the additional video from the earlier incident where where there were errors there as well. How come there's those technical errors every time someone's strangling this guy? Huh? Dan, you got the file. Show me the evidence. Show me this. I want to be wrong. I want to keep supporting you. I'm not here to get lied to or placated. I mean, how about his whole prior incident, suicide watch, and that whole thing, right? I mean, you got this whole thing. Back in 2019, they found him half unconscious and, looked like, of course, that was another attempted suicide, right? Although, remember this, Epstein himself, he described himself as a coward. He said, I couldn't kill myself. I'm a coward. I don't want to go through that kind of pain. Plus, he's Jewish, and he didn't want to. He said that it's prohibited under his faith. So Epstein said, that he was focused on beating his case, that sort of stuff. He said, I'm not suicidal. He said it. Dan, evidence, my man. I want to see evidence. Don't tell me Epstein was suicidal. Don't tell me that you saw the stuff and you're sure about it. Show me what you saw. I want to see what you saw. I want to see what accounts for those cameras and those guards and all the peculiarities and protocol violations. Explain to me what evidence you have to show that those things were. And why did the newscaster not ask about that? Well, she wasn't supposed to. This was a propaganda piece, right? By the way, Epstein's brother has rejected the suicide ruling. He says, no way. He said he wouldn't have taken his life. He had a bail hearing. Epstein had a bail hearing coming up. Why would he kill himself right before that? He might got out. Doesn't even make sense, right? You look at all these things. And by the way, this is all happening shortly after, those 2,000 or so pages that got unsealed, talking about, the rich, powerful people who were, raping children. Dan, how do you account for the timing? Is that another coincidence? Is it another coincidence? What evidence do you have to show that that's not an issue? Don't send me a tweet that you're telling me the truth. Tell me what evidence you have to show me. You know what? I would love to interview Kash and Dan about the Epstein file. I would love for them to explain to me when I ask them these questions, what's wrong? Why am I wrong? What evidence did you see specifically, Dan, that made you think that the forensic pathologist who's looked at thousands of jail suicides and never seen one like this, what made you think that he was wrong? Can you explain that to me? I would love to ask these questions. And if you want me to believe your crap, maybe you need to answer them instead of just say, well, it would be inappropriate for me to talk about it. But I've reviewed it, and I will tell you, you can't question me because bullcrap. Are you being used? Are you being propped up for this position? Do you not know? I mean, I don't know what's happening. These are guys I'm a fan. I was a fan of Bongino. I'm a fan of Kash Patel. I think they're great people but they're not getting it done. How about the physical? How about the bed sheet? The bed sheet itself and the way the body. I mean, none of it aligned with suicide, according to the reports. I mean, nothing about this adds up. But don't worry. Dan and Kash said that they're going to tell us the truth, whether we like it or not. So it must be the truth. The fact that we don't like it is only because it's hard for us to handle the truth. That's what it is, right? That's right. And by the way, the Butler gunman, Thomas Matthew Crook, I mean, clearly nothing to see there. They reviewed that too. There's nothing going on. I mean, let's talk about a little bit of the nothing going on, right? Trump himself has made comments about this. The whole thing just smells, to be real honest with you. But let's get into some specifics here, right? Remember the Butler shooting. Remember all the details. I did a lot on the Butler shooting. The Secret Service, right? So the whole B team was hired, right? They brought in the B team. They didn't have any, remember all the 4-foot-tall women that were supposed to be protecting Trump? Dan, did you look into that? Did you find out why that happened? What evidence do you have to show that there was no issue there? How about the fact that no one bothered looking at that building, despite it being like right where there's 3 police snipers inside the building, and somehow this guy just was able to crawl up there and shoot him, right? How about that? How about eyewitnesses, alerting the police and the Secret Service about this guy, and nobody did anything. They just let Trump stand there on the stage, right? Remember that? Remember all the witnesses? Oh, no, we tried to tell the police and Secret Service, and nobody did anything. Not one thing. Coincidence? Dan, what evidence do you have to show that that was not intentional? I would love to know what evidence you have, because you saw the file and you said it wasn't intentional, that there was no conspiracy, there's nothing to see here. Okay, well, what's that? I mean, people saw, and a lot of people who are like trained in sniping and that sort of stuff saw that these guys, they observed the snipers that were available, saw Crooks with his gun and rangefinder and did nothing. I mean, they saw it. You could see it in the videos and stuff. They saw that nobody did anything, right? Dan, what evidence did you see to show that that's incorrect? How about we've got 3 witnesses claimed that multiple gunmen fired from a nearby water tower. 3 of them. Anybody got any explanation on that? I mean, Niner? Dan, have you investigated that? And there were 3 witnesses. Where are they? Why are they not in the news, by the way? Why aren't we talking about that? How about the audio signatures, right? We had some guys, I know Mike Adams, a bunch of people have analyzed audio signatures, 100%. So it looks like more than one gunman. What's going on there, Dan? Did you explain that? What was your explanation for the audio signatures? I'm curious. Explosive devices? They found an explosive device, bulletproof vest, extra magazine, all that stuff. What's going on? And how did Crooks plan all that? How was all this planned? If they're going to do a big mass casualty event, how did he plan all that? How did he coordinate all that? He was just a lone guy, on a suicide mission. What did you think? Yeah, explain all that, right? There are all sorts of things. For Secret Service people, former Secret Service, snipers, military, everybody looking at this. Talking about a mole in the Secret Service, about this and everybody that has any knowledge of any of this has said, hey, this stinks. Dan Bongino and everybody else questioned it. Now all of a sudden, no, none of that evidence matters. I mean, it was clearly, we looked at the file, and that's what matters, right? The file. The file was honest. We're sure the file was honest. Nobody would ever lie about the file. We know that. Folks, this doesn't add up. If the file has something that exonerates all this, why aren't you sharing the file? Show me the evidence. Let us see the evidence, right? Trust is at an all-time low, especially in the FBI. Now, I would think that if you had evidence that's counter to what every sensible person on the planet has said and talked about, including yourself, that you wouldn't come out with a tweet telling everybody how, I know you don't like it, but I'm going to tell you the truth. That's nonsense. It's absurd. I want evidence, folks. I don't want to lose faith in Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. But, I mean, how about Ruth? How about the other guy? What was his name? Was it Ruth? Ryan Wesley Ruth, the Palm Beach guy who has all the connections to Ukraine and had apparently had tried to buy rocket launchers and rifles. And, I mean, all this stuff. Nothing there. Nothing there either. Folks, Kash and Bongino were supposed to be the gold standards for us. They were probably the 2 people I was trusting most to get in there and to clean house and to do some things. They haven't done a damn thing with the Epstein list other than what appears to be taking the time to whitewash it. The child rape rings, the only people they're going after are little-level nobodies. They're not bringing it down. They haven't found the 300,000 missing kids yet. They haven't done anything of substance to go after the Soroses of this world or the Gates Foundations of this world or any of the real big shots. I mean, there's literally nothing coming from the DOJ. Now, I'm going to give him credit for arresting this clown, Democrat who is up in Jersey, but that person, I'm sure that's not going to go anywhere. But nothing is coming from our DOJ. Nothing. What are we going to see some action? I don't want to hear. I don't want to see anything about, well, I looked at the file and I'm Dan Bongino and I gave up millions of dollars. I get it. I respect you for that. I don't care. Show me the evidence, Dan. Show me what it is that made you believe that Epstein didn't kill himself. Show me how it is that an investigator like you, a respected guy who spent so many years in law enforcement, tell me how it is that you became convinced that the mainstream narrative is the true narrative after glancing at a file. I would love to know. Folks, I'm sorry to bust these guys' chops so much. I do. I like Bongino a lot. This makes me sad, honestly, on some levels, because, that guy was out there, and, after Rush passed, Bongino, I would say Bongino probably was the close, carrying the torch on the largest scale. And no one's going to replace Rush. Rush is, he's just one of a kind. There is no replacing Rush Limbaugh. But Bongino was I think he was the big dog in town after Rush passed. And to see this absolute absurd, nonsensical garbage coming out of our DOJ, FBI, it just makes me sick. It makes me literally nauseous. I don't believe it. I don't have any reason to find any of this to be accurate or true. And I don't know. I'm just disappointed. I was so hopeful to see some big things happening. And we're just getting a whole lot of nothing. I mean, the only thing we do have Elena Haba. She's doing a good job in New Jersey, but that's a local thing, right? That's not the DOJ main office. That's one of the people that got appointed who's doing a good job. We'll see. She did let the Democrat mayor off, but apparently she's going after this Congresswoman MacGyver. We'll see whether or not it's actually real or whether it's just a charge that she's going to drop after a few minutes to try and, whether it's a PR thing or a real thing. If MacGyver ends up in jail, I'll be happy. At that point, I'll be impressed with Haba. But the main DOJ main office, I haven't seen a damn thing. If you're keying a Tesla, they'll come after you. But anything short of that is just sad, and I don't know, folks. I just am truly, truly disappointed in this whole thing. So, a couple last things, quick, before we wrap up today. We've got an interesting story out there that Leo Terrell, right? So he's a DOJ appointee. He's talking about the idea that maybe Joe Biden should get a criminal charge for elder abuse. I thought that was hilarious. It's a real thing. I think Joe Biden, nobody liked Joe Biden as president. Obviously, he's terrible and he's a crook. But I feel pretty bad for Joe Biden. I did throughout his presidency. That guy was used in ways that it's despicable. It was clear he didn't know what was happening. And yeah, I'm sure in his lucid moments, he was all in for it. Because it's just the way he is, right? The guy's not exactly honest and forthcoming. So I'm sure that there were things that he's promoting, but the guy didn't know where he was. He was getting lost on the stage. He was confused everywhere. He's a national embarrassment. He's going to meet people. He crapped his pants with the Pope. Not that Pope really deserved any better, but, and by the way, I'm Catholic, so I can say that. But just across the board, the guy was a literal embarrassment to the country and to himself. And I want you to think about this for a minute. Again, I know I got a lot of people who are watching who are like, yeah, piss on Biden, right? But just as a human being, You got a confused elderly guy who doesn't know what he's doing. And yeah, he's a crook and a sellout and a piece of garbage. But at the same time, putting him out there to humiliate himself in the way that they did, putting him out there the way they did, I mean, does that qualify as elder abuse? I got to be honest with you. On some levels, I kind of feel like it does. So, I mean, that's a thing, right? Last but not least, here you go, folks. Here it is. The crushing of the midterm hopes for the Republicans. Elon Musk says he will be spending a lot less in the future on politics. I've done enough. If I see a reason to do political spending, I will, but I don't currently see a reason. Well, folks, you know what that means? Bye-bye GOP majority. This is not going to go well. The midterms are going to be a disaster. And unless Trump starts actually doing something to bring down the heads of the snake, we are lost after the midterms. Because if the Democrats get enough of a majority, they will impeach Trump and they will throw him out of office. We don't have much time to get some stuff done. And Trump's crooked ass, lazy DOJ that's making excuses for Epstein and the shooters and everything else, that's the kind of meat and potatoes that the base wants to see. We want to see accountability. We want to see COVID criminals in jail. We want to see real things. Even Musk is losing faith. What am I going to spend it for? Why would I spend money? And he's right. Why would he? Well, the Republicans, I mean, they aren't backing him on DOGE. They aren't backing him on USAID. Republicans aren't backing him on anything. Why would Elon Musk spend money? Why would he do that? I'd spend money to get him out, not to put him in, though. These guys are horrific. And the Republican Party, as usual, is doing what it does. It's destroying itself from within. Now, we've got pockets of victory. We've got things like Oklahoma. We're kind of retaking the party there. We're doing some other things. But across the board, this is a disaster. The GOP needs to get its poop together, and they need to do it quick. Mike Johnson needs to be booted because apparently he can't lead. We need someone in there who can actually get some things done, and we need to move. But right now, it ain't happening. And I'm just praying for our country because we got about a year and a half, and it's going to get real ugly after the midterms, folks. So anyways, lots more happening. We'll be back tomorrow.